get started. We also have a packed agenda, so I think that there will be some housekeeping that will be done by Maria in a minute. That you should also introduce the chat and the Q&A features that are available, because I saw I think a comment from Ahmed. So it will be the team giving you the Quebec release highlights. So without further ado, welcome everyone. So we try to do these webinars every time ServiceNow comes out with a major release. It was really phenomenal to see the amount of people that were interested in this webinar. So as we sit here right now, we have already more than 70 people that have dialed in for this webinar. So that's I think already a great result, and it's also I think a clear indication about the importance of this release. So what you see in the ServiceNow world, that some releases are, let's say, more focused on the maturity and the maturing of the product, and in other cases, some releases are literally just packed with new stuff. And I think Quebec definitely falls into that last category. So it's great that that people have joined in to get that information. So that information will be brought to you by 11 of my colleagues who are either capability leads or competence leads, and these have prepared for you their top 3 highlights. And we have been preparing for this webinar because we are also part of the beta testing program, giving us early access to the Quebec release. So we have been working in that system, and like I said, the most notable things have been collected by this group of people, and they will present that to you in approximately 4 minutes for each segment. That does not leave a lot of time, to be honest. So and also I'm eating up their time. So I wanted to also get started then with, and if you go to the next slide, Maria, with also a highlight of myself. So I think that 2 weeks ago we were very fortunate to won a very nice award. So we won the app development platform of the Partner of the Year award from ServiceNow. And as you can see in the picture here, a lot of extremely happy faces of myself and some of my colleagues. And I think that the reason behind this slide is also that it did a little bit feel like a lifetime achievement award. For those of you that are aware of what our company has been doing for the last 7.5 years, and one of those things is definitely trying to build apps on the platform, and also trying to improve the way that we do that. And I think that this award is actually also just a clear signal that apparently we've been doing something right, and we're very proud to have received this. And I think that this also leads me then also with the relevance to Quebec, to also one of the highlights that was for me most striking. And it was actually not a feature that was added, but it's actually something that is now announced to be taken away from the platform. And that feature is actually the whole concept of update sets, which is something that every one of this in this call is probably aware of. It's a way to actually promote enhancements from your development environment all the way to production. But that whole update set mechanism, it was very innovative when I started to work with ServiceNow 10 years ago. But these days there are new technologies and new ways of working, all built around CI/CD. And ServiceNow also with Quebec has released even more features in that CI/CD way of working, and has now also officially been announcing that the update set method will be deprecated in the next couple of releases. So I think that before handing over to Maria for housekeeping and the rest, I wanted to actually plant the seed in your minds to say, hey, look out! This is really what's coming. Update sets will leave. CI/CD way of working will come. We will be having a webinar around this topic in the upcoming period, so we will be notifying you when that is there. And I think that this is really something that all of us need to get prepared for. And I think it actually brings a lot of exciting opportunities in terms of citizen development, in terms of bringing enhancements to the system with more speed and with a higher quality. So I think it's really a change for the better. Having said that, Maria, you want to do some household, and I want to also give the rest of the team good luck and enjoy the webinar.
Hi, thanks for the intro, Elmar. Just going over some basic housekeeping rules. Use the Q&A or chat feature if you have any questions, and we'll save them for the end of the webinar. Whoever your question's relevant to, will have that particular competence lead come on the line and answer for you. Mute your line if you can during the presentation, just to avoid any unnecessary noise, and sit back and enjoy. And just to address the broader question, we will be sharing the recording if you registered for this session, so keep a lookout for that in your inbox. Moving on to today's tour guides, our experts in each different area are Agni, Anjo, Wolf, Johan, Richard, Bas, Carl, Jeroen, Dylan, Paul, and Maud. And as you see, we have a lot of people presenting today, so I'm going to head and jump right in to the first module, which will be presented by Agni, and that's CSM. So Agni, I'm going to hand it over to you if you're ready to kick us off.
Yes, thank you, Maria. So good afternoon, everyone. So in CSM, so first of all, I am Agni and CSM competence lead within Platformation. So I also want to update you from what actually happened in CSM with this release. So with Quebec, ServiceNow continues to enable customers to drive customer loyalty with new features and improvements. And it was actually difficult to pick up three. However, the most impactful ones I thought were the following. So first one, the brand new application, which is called Workforce Optimization for Customer Service. Secondly, I want to talk a little bit about configurable workspaces. And lastly, also highlight some new communication channels for ServiceNow. So let's move on directly to Workforce Optimization for Customer Service. So what is that? So actually, that's a new application for organizations that wish to get the most out of their workforce and manage their team and skills in the best possible way in order to make sure that you deliver the best quality service. So Workforce Optimization for Customer Service is a brand new application that enables teams, managers, and supervisors to basically supervise their team. So they also can route work to the team and manage these team skills and schedules, approve the schedule swaps, and things like that. So also, what is also possible within the application that you're able to identify the coaching needed for your employees. So let's say increase their skills in one specific feature or some skills in other areas, some additional training. So what is the benefit in general of the application is that in the end, you reduce the overhead time of reassignments, but also enabling internal growth for your employees while they're delivering the best service by fully equipped agents. So it's a win-win situation for both employees and organization. And all that can be done from supervisor's workspace, which now also makes me very excited to talk about the next highlight, which is configurable workspaces. If you could switch the slide, Maria, that would be great. Thank you. So configurable workspaces. So you probably, if you've been using ServiceNow for quite a while, you do remember forms in the backend that the agents used to work. They still do work in there. However, we see a lot of customers moving away from backend forms and moving their support to work in the agent workspaces. So now using a brand new UI builder that I believe will be highlighted on its own later on by my colleague Jeroen, workspaces can be created and configured to requirements of the teams, managers, and so on. So you can have workspaces in a different brand appearance, but also makes it very easy to onboard outsourced customer service providers, which actually is also a new feature since Paris that we highlighted in the previous webinar. So therefore, everyone can have their own place to work, execute their work in the way they want, basically configure it how they want it, so they don't really necessarily need to work on the same forms at all times. And then last but not least, I want to highlight ServiceNow moving into more omnichannel areas. So specifically one with WhatsApp, because WhatsApp, I think, is one of the most commonly used applications for messaging nowadays. And the possibility to integrate ServiceNow via Twilio with WhatsApp is now possible. In addition, the Line Global Messenger is also possible within integrations. So this is actually opens up a new door for customers that want to expand their communication channels. and let them reach out from wherever and whenever. So of course, there's many more features. And if you want to discuss in particular any of the features that you saw already, please do not hesitate to reach out. However, at this moment, I want to hand over further review for Anjo.
Thank you very much, Agne. My name is Anjo, Competence Lead for Field Service Management. And I actually just want to show you what Quebec brings in terms of field service management. Elmer highlighted in the beginning that there are a lot of new and very exciting features. In field service management, ServiceNow is a little bit more focused on maturity and improving efficiency. Nevertheless, those focus areas that you're going to see soon are very interesting, and I get very excited to talk about those. They are dispatcher workspace, predictive intelligence, and there are some mobile enhancements to the mobile application that is often used by the field service engineers. One of the most exciting things, or one of the most important things, I think, is the dispatcher workspace. It's using the technology that Agne had highlighted just before, the configurable workspaces. And it's really exciting to see that ServiceNow here listened really to the community, to people that are working or that used to work with the old dispatch situation, how things were connected to each other. And they really bring all those functionalities that were already present now in one screen, making it no longer needed for dispatchers to either swivel chair or change tabs or look at different screens. There's really now one, it's a one-stop shop to see all the work that needs to be done. So there's a list of tasks, agents, it shows calendars, availability SLAs, and there is also it is directly integrated with a dispatch map. It's very cool and it's very exciting, and it has the support for all of the things that you used to know. So the dynamic scheduling, the agent suggestions, and all the things, it's still there. You just no longer need to switch forms. It really gives you a heads up, let's say, of what is going on with your agents, where are they, and what the performance is. It's excuse me. It is closely connected to the next feature, which we want to highlight, which is predictive intelligence. And this is a bit of an extension to the platform using machine learning that we probably have heard about already, making the life for your agents, but especially dispatchers, a bit easier. In this workspace, in this configurable dispatcher workspace, ServiceNow has now made it possible to highlight or automatically attach knowledge articles or suggestions, or see similar work orders that have been handled before by your agents, or knowledge articles that have been updated recently, attaches those to the tickets, making it either easier for the dispatchers to find the correct person, to dispatch the correct teams, or for your technicians to see how things were resolved in the past. What have we done? How can we improve, or how did we solve it earlier, and does the same apply right now? It's really using the data that you already had, that is for a long time used through your systems, and connects that to the configurable workspace, and through that dispatcher workspace into the tickets that are seen by the agents or the technicians that go on site. For those technicians that are on site, Quebec brings a lot of improvements actually to the mobile application. In the last webinar, we have discussed the mobile as well. It is a main focus point for field service management for ServiceNow, because it really allows agents, technicians, people that are really going in the field, to do their work without requiring a laptop and without having a piece of paper to track things. In Quebec, ServiceNow makes it easier to use parts. You can schedule right now, or scan right now, barcodes, not one, but you can scan a lot of them at the same time if you use parts to keep your inventory up to date, making sure that there is enough stock in the vans or in the magazines where your engineers are. And what it does with that information, it's just connects back into the system, making sure that transfer orders and all inventory is always there. Something else, there are of course a lot more improvements, but one very important is again ServiceNow listening to their community, and they have improved the offline caching. The mobile app was already available offline, but it required manual action. You had to say on forehand, when am I going offline? That's a bit difficult, cumbersome. You don't always know when you no longer have a signal. So what this mobile app right now has is that it supports offline caching. So when a task is assigned to you, you no longer need to say, I'm going off the grid. It just makes sure that you have the latest information available, downloads it automatically, and when you go offline, it will sync it back, or it will sync the data back to the internet the moment you get back online. There are a lot more of those enhancements, not only to the mobile app, not only to the workspace. It's as Agnes said, if you have questions, please get in touch and we will be happy to help you. But I would like to pass the word right now to Wolf for HR service delivery.
All right, thank you. Hi everyone, I'm Wolf de Hulster. I'm the HRSD competence lead for at Platformation. And today I will briefly go through 3 interesting new Quebec features that are part of the HR service delivery. So first of all, universal request. Next slide, please. Multiple customers are currently struggling on how to provide a unified service to all their employees. This is where universal request can help. It delivers a single point of request experience to all the employees. This via a portal page, where a standard ticket page on your portal, where the end users can ask a general question. This without them having to see the complexity, without showing the complexity for the service delivery. It's also possible as part of universal request to transfer tickets between or across multiple departments. For example, an incident can be transferred to an HR case, and a WSD case can be transferred to an IT request. The second topic I want to discuss would be the campaign previews. For most professional HRSD users, campaigns are an essential part of their employee service center setup. Campaigns allow you to automate and package information to your employees to deliver really the right message at the right time to the right audience. The new campaigns preview functionality allows you to evaluate this important content before publishing it already on that portal. The preview is possible for single pieces of content. It's possible on page and on stage level, and you can also preview a full portal in one go. The last feature I want to discuss would be the HR mobile agent app. ServiceNow has already strategically defined that they will be creating separate mobile apps that are really purposely built and persona focused. This is also the case for the HR mobile agent app. In the Quebec release, this trend will be continued. So a new fully native mobile HRSD experience is now available for agents. This application is separate from the already existing ITSM mobile agent application. Thanks everyone. These were my updates on the HRSD space, and I will hand it over to Jochen.
Yes, okay, thanks Wolf. So hello, my name is Jochen Vos and I'm the competency lead for ITBM within Platformation. So also ITBM has some really nice features and improvements. And I selected the following 3 from all the different applications that the ITBM suite has to offer. So first, I want to talk about the improvements on the scenario planning for PPM. Next, I want to highlight the integration of APM and IRM. And last but not least, the improvements on the SAFE application. So in our Best of Paris release webcast, I already highlighted the scenario planning feature. So having the opportunity to link costs and benefits to goals and strategic objectives really enhances the visibility on your strategy, both from a planning and a realization perspective. And I think this is a really nice feature, and it's also really great. And seen as a true asset by our clients. And in Quebec, some nice enhancements are introduced, including the simulation of various scenarios, and also the possibility to approve and also to override the current scenario, including, let's say, the impact that it has on the underlying demands and projects and resource plans. So it makes it more effective and more efficient to work with different scenarios throughout the year. Then the second one I want to highlight is, let's say, the integration possibilities. Also in Quebec, the possibilities to, let's say, collaborate across different functions and departments is extended. And also, let's say, in Quebec, we see some possibilities to sync integrations, for example, with MSP, with Teams and Slack. And what I would like to highlight here is let's say, the internal integration with risk and compliance for APM. I think this integration will, let's say, increase the visibility as well as the collaboration between risk functions, the risk function and applications owners within organizations. And in the end, it will actually reduce the risk profile of organizations because of the importance that business applications play as they become more and more one of the standards capabilities that organizations have, and through which they communicate and offer services to their clients. We've also made a video about, well, actually, it is 2 plugins. So if you want to know more information on this feature, please watch the video on our YouTube channel. And then last but not least, I want to also highlight the new feature of SAFE. In the previous release, let's say, the triage board was introduced, making it possible to capture work from other applications into the SAFE module. And in this release, the SAFE objectives is introduced. And I think that's a great addition, because for many organizations, SAFE does not really start with the definition of, let's say, teams and epics and stories, but it starts with the establishment of objectives of a program increment, or let's say an agile release train and a program. And this is actually possible from the Quebec release. And I think SAFE objectives provide you with the possibility of capturing both the planned and the actual delivery of value. I think that's very important in SAFE by the teams and the ARTs. And that's great that is now possible from SAFE. So these were my 3 highlights. So yeah, if you want to know more, please reach out to me. And now it's up to Richard to talk about the item improvements. Thanks.
Yes, thank you. Hey, good afternoon. My name is Richard van Gogh, and I will bring you the item highlights for the Quebec release. So the first thing that is that comes to mind when we talk about the highlights is definitely machine learning. We have some really cool stuff coming up. And we will see machine learning within both service mapping as event management. But aside from that, we have some new stuff for service mapping and event management as well. I split up my slides by the different item modules. So first of all is the item visibility, and that contains the discovery and service mapping. And here the first cool thing comes up, machine learning for both discovery and service mapping What we have seen in the past is that when we enabled traffic-based discovery, it will always create a lot of mess in both the CMDB and on our source maps. But we expect that with the added feature of machine learning within there, a lot of noise will be prevented. So using machine learning, we think that traffic-based connections will be way more reliable. It will become easier to convert manual services into dynamic services, and this will also help us and you to comply to the CSDM standards. And service mapping will move to a more tag-based discovery. This is specifically for cloud services because tags are heavily used in cloud services. And this will definitely speed up the process of discovering services, service maps in the cloud. Next slide, please. Yeah, so for event management, I already said it, but even here we have a little bit of machine learning. Well, not a little bit, but a lot, because Anjo already told about predictive intelligence in field service management. But for event management, we have something called predictive AI ops. And here we have ServiceNow acquiring Loom Systems, which is an external tool. And they will use this external tool to predict, prevent, and automate IT issues coming from event management. So it's a bit different than the operational intelligence, which is already a module in ServiceNow, but this is more focusing on machine learning. Next to that, we have site reliability operations. And this is a combination between ITSM and ITOM integrations for DevOps teams that will enable the site reliability engineers to monitor their services health, so they can define their own services. And with the integrations, it will all be in line. Next slide, please. Yeah, and last but not least, a small update about cloud management. The most interesting part here is that cloud management has changed its name. So if you are looking at your certifications for cloud management, or you want to do a training about cloud management, from now on, it's called cloud provisioning and governance. So keep that in mind. And what is new in cloud provisioning and governance is that they have some more advanced resource order controls. It used to be the case that as soon as a team is has passed their quota in the cloud, they were not able to request anything new because the quota was exceeded. But now with resource order controls, we are able to set up what would happen as soon as a quota has exceeded. So for example, an approval is required instead, but it's still possible to request new items. Maybe an approval needs to take place. And the last thing is that there will be a performance analytics content pack for cloud resources. So this will mean that the out-of-the-box dashboard for cloud management will enhance greatly because they will now rely on performance analytics. And that's it. Then I will take over or give the microphone to Bas. He will talk about ITSM.
Yes, thank you, Richard. My name is Bas Leij. I'm the ITSM Competence Lead for Platformation, and want to talk to you about three beautiful focus areas within ITSM. First, as Agnes already mentioned, there's also workforce optimization, especially for ITSM. After that, I want to talk to you about the process optimization, shortly driven into ITSM, and from a customer perspective on the increased AI-driven virtual agent. First, the workforce optimization. Well, as Agnes already mentioned, this is a very nice new application which really helps customers to get most out of their workforce, make sure that there are no schedule issues, no wrongdoing with same people asking a day off, but it most importantly helps with making sure that the capability of your team through coaching, training, and so on are all managed by the system and even where possible automated. To get ITSM workforce optimization, you require the new ITSM enterprise licensing It's a new level of licensing introduced by ServiceNow since Quebec, so good to know for you as well. However, it is a great add-on for the many teams that we might know within ITSM towards managing our service delivery. Moving on to the process optimization. My colleague Maud at the end will go quite more into depth on that one as well. However, for ITSM processes, it's possible from Quebec on to have process optimization run on it, which actually means that the system will measure how healthy your process is going and to what extent your process is fulfilled as you think it should be. Helps with audit trails, it helps with management, and it gives more insight in how you can optimize the actual process and with that, the speed to resolve your tickets. And last but not least, let's talk about the virtual agent because it got another great update through the artificial intelligence, which makes it even better, easier to create conversations through the agent. Helping your end customer, may be an employee, may be a real customer, towards better fitting answers and solutions and deflect main tickets. This one's already available also from the professional suite and quite easy to add towards your existing virtual agent. A big plus towards the usability of your chatbot. So with these three, again, just 3 small highlights. And if you have any questions, please just let us know. And for now, I would like to give the floor to Karel.
Thank you, Bas. So hello, everyone. My name is Karel Jansen, and I am the Integrated Risk Management Competence Lead in Platformation. And also for Integrated Risk Management, I would like to give you a short update on the highlights that we selected from the Quebec update. I see that the slide is still loading. There we are. Yeah, so I think in line with updates that were given by my colleagues, what we really see also is that artificial intelligence and predictive intelligence are really being embraced as new domains by ServiceNow as the platform, and really in the space of integrated risk management, the complex subject matter space. These types of new advanced features are really distinguishing ServiceNow also from all of its competitors, I would say. So looking at point solutions, you would never be able to achieve with such solutions, with what you can do with ServiceNow, especially in this domain of integrated risk management, where we have use cases potentially throughout the entire enterprise. In addition to those AI and predictive intelligence capabilities, we also have a new feature, which is the evidence request workflow. Talk about that a little bit. And yeah, in line with the APM and IRM integration that Jochen already spoke about a little bit, there's more and more developments in this space of connecting business processes and different domains of the organization to the risk and compliance functions. So please, next slide. So yeah, the AI and predictive intelligence capabilities, as we saw, they are really, let's say, integrated throughout the platform, and that's really also true for integrated risk management. So basically what we can do within the IRM space is automatically group and assign issues. So we have a certain control failure or an audit finding or a failed risk indicator, which results logically in an issue. The AI and predictive intelligence capabilities and machine learning capabilities will allow us now to actually automatically assign these types of issues to the right groups and the right people in the organization based on all of the, let's say, process and operational data that we're collecting, thereby, of course, even further reducing, let's say, the workload and effort needed from not only that operational layer, but also the risk and compliance function that is responsible for monitoring these types of workloads and processes. So I think very interesting, and it's really a key domain that ServiceNow is aiming on, that make them distinguish themselves. The next slide, please. So the evidence request workflow is basically a new feature. So where we were already able to leverage the assessment engine for attestations, for instance, risk assessments to guide these types of processes where we need to gather information from our operational layer. We can now also actually do ad hoc evidence requests. So as part of your audit and compliance cycles, of course, very often, more often than not, an auditor may want to request some additional evidence to test whether that control is indeed implemented effectively also in his or her opinion. So here a dedicated functionality to do those evidence requests throughout any period, for any moment in time, basically. Even more centralizing and collecting all of the relevant audit and compliance data, of course, in our single system of action record. So next slide, please. To the business process management lifecycle further integration. So what Jochen already spoke about a little bit is that we have, of course, the integration with application portfolio management and integrated risk management. What we actually see is that the advanced risk management capabilities under the IRM product suite allow us to and are further being matured and developed to actually trigger, for instance, these kind of business impact assessments to determine, for instance, criticality for applications, but that also goes, for instance, for certain regulated processes, for instance, our customer onboarding processes, credit check processes, where we need to actually, once we change or update such a process, need to determine what the impact is on the organization and whether there are any additional risks associated with such a process. So further decreasing the workload and improving collaboration between risk compliance and operational layer of the organization. Yeah, and with that, I think I can close off. If you have any further questions, then yeah, please reach out.
Thank you for handing it over, Karel, to me. So I'm Jeroen Stams, Platform Capability Lead. And today I will be presenting these 3 highlights, which I find very interesting. So it's about customization apps, the Instant Scan, and UI Builder. So the customization apps. So in the past, we were always using update sets to promote configuration between the instances. Now, over the last few family releases, ServiceNow is giving us actually more capabilities to use applications to actually move that configuration between the instances. So first it was scoped apps, then global apps were added, and now the capability customization apps are added. What can you do with the customization app? Imagine that if you would have the workplace service delivery app of ServiceNow, and you need to add or customize some functionality in there. Previously, we would need update sets to capture that configuration. Now with customization apps, that configuration will be captured in a customization app, and it will be deployed via the application repository. And this is the thing Elmar already was speaking about. It's a total different way of working to actually promote configuration to a next instance. And by using these apps, it allows us actually to also start using CI/CD in a more automated way, test and deploy configuration to that next instance. So watch the webinar of CI/CD. I think there are a lot of interesting topics there to discuss for actually doing your future upgrades. Next one, Instant Scan. So previously you could request ServiceNow to do a health scan to get details about what's the health of my instance. Now with Quebec, Instant Scan is available in each of your instances, which allows you to actually scan for bad practices. And doing that, you can immediately improve, let's say, the bad practices that are applied, improve it to align it to best practices before you start deploying it to your next instances. So again, improving your quality of the instance, which is very important to us. Last but not least, UI Builder. So a total different framework to actually build your experiences. And what kind of experiences? Currently, new workspaces and portal experiences. So ServiceNow with UI Builder has a framework to actually, in a drag and drop, what you see is what you get, application to build that experience. And it cannot be done only by a developer. It also allows actually to do citizen development in here. So what you see also in the middle of the pictures, all active tasks, it's an example of how this builder will look like. It's a platform feature, so yeah, any application can make use of it. But be aware, the older agent workspaces, those need to be replaced by UI Builder. So these were my 3 highlights. Up next is Dylan.
Hello, I'm Dylan Veerman. I'm responsible for CSDM within Platformation, and I would like to shortly highlight 3 of the things that came with the Quebec release. First, the product views that have been released, the data synchronization, and also some dashboard improvements. So let's move into the first one, the product views. Well, this is actually not something that is related to a technical adjustment within the ServiceNow instance coming from the Quebec release, but I believe that it has tremendous value, and therefore I really want to highlight it. Actually, every release, ServiceNow has now released new product views. This release, it will be the asset, the CMDB, and the request product view. The CMDB product view is already available on ServiceNow Docs, I have seen. But what do these products view provide on guidance? Well, you per product view and per process or module, they actually tell you how to align with CSDM for that product view. They explain which tables are being used, what the benefits are, and how you should set it up correctly within ServiceNow. It tells you what dependencies there are with other products, and it also gives some examples of different use cases within the different modules. So for example, for CSM, there were like 6 different use cases. One, for example, how to model services with multiple packages. Another one would be services with optional components. And lastly, they contain a section where there are frequently asked questions at the end. They can be found on the ServiceNow Docs page and also as part of the CSDM fundamental course, which is available on Now Learning. Next slide, please. Another feature that I would like to highlight is the data synchronization. This allows you to synchronize non-discoverable CSDM data from technical service offerings, dynamic CI groups, and CI classes towards underlying CIs. The fields that are being synchronized or could be synchronized are the support and change groups, and also the managed by groups. And what is how does this work? If you define these fields on, for example, the technical service group, technical service offering, and these are related to a dynamic CI group, these are synchronized, and then the CIs that are part of the dynamic CI group are then also again, the fields are synchronized from the dynamic CI group towards the underlying CIs. The same goes for the CI class manager. You could define on CMDB class level what kind of fields you want to synchronize towards the underlying CIs, which actually allows you to improve and more efficiently manage the data that cannot be discovered. Furthermore, you can automatically identify which kind of groups are responsible for managing the details of a CI. No further impact with regards to licensing. You only need to start using the dynamic CI groups and or the technical service offerings. Next. Lastly, I would like to highlight the dashboard improvements. Since Paris, there has been the CSDM and CMDB data foundation dashboard, though it has been improved as part of the Quebec release. What has changed? The foundation tab has been added, whereby you now can find foundation data elements like location, organization, and product models, for example. Furthermore, the existing reports have been improved and have now the ability to show performance analytics reports, being able to show historical results over time. This of course is a very valuable asset to actually manage your whole CSDM and CMDB journey. Next to that, also the CSDM dashboard that gives you some detailed information on remediation activities that could be performed. Well, this all leads to better insights in quality of data and relationships within the platform, and it allows you to manage CMDB and CSDM data quality and track the improvements over time. The only thing you need to do is request it via the ServiceNow Store app, and it's also free to install. The same goes for all the other things related to this highlight update from my side. And if you have any other questions, feel free to contact me. And by that, I want to hand it over to my colleague Paul, who's going to talk about reporting and performance analytics.
Yes, hello, my name is Paul Gertz. I'm the performance analytics and reporting expert at ServiceNow, at Platformation. And I'm going to talk about some of the very interesting new features of the Quebec release. So if you could show me the next slide. We're going to talk about the business calendars, the function fields, and the configure field and value formats. Those are the three main focus areas of the Quebec release this time. So the custom business calendars, this is actually something that was requested a lot of times by many of our customers, and we also played a very big role in actually integrating this into the Quebec release by sending ServiceNow all the references of those customers. So what this does is, well, basically when you want to filter your data based on quarters, then the quarters are always linked to the yearly quarters. Now, if your fiscal year is actually has a different starting month, then you couldn't do that in ServiceNow. And basically what you can do now is create your own business calendar. You can have your financial year start at any time of the year. And you can use that in reporting and in performance analytics, and thereby filtering out your data specifically to your financial report. So that makes a lot of people happy in this case. Right, so the next slide, please. Next slide would be about the function fields. And function fields is something very interesting because previously, if you wanted to do any calculation in reporting or on your records, then the only thing you would actually be able to do is either create these values using performance analytics, or you could do them using business rules when the fields are actually changed. But currently, we have a new feature. It's actually been around underwater for quite some releases now, but now this is also available to the admins in the platform, and also to a specific other admin role. And this allows you to create calculated fields directly on your records by using any of the fields in the record. So what you could do is you could calculate, let's say, the difference between the open and the close date, and then where you create you calculate the duration of your tickets. That and a number of other business, database options are available, like coalescing on several fields, or you could concatenate some strings, and many other features are available. So what happens is this actually creates a separate field in the dictionary, and you can use that field anywhere in the platform. So on forms, on reports, in performance analytics, in lists. So it's available just as any normal field. And the last one is more of a cosmetic thing, because when you are reporting on values, on duration values mainly, then the platform does not let you choose how those values are displayed. And with this new configure field and value formats option, you're actually able to set the decimal precision. You can set several rounding options. And you can even display the tooltips on your values. So as an example, you see you can display a large number like 10 million only as 10 million, or you could choose that it actually has to display the complete number. So it's mainly a visible thing, but it allows you a lot more flexibility on how numbers and duration fields are actually being displayed. Right, so next up is Maud. He will talk about the predictive intelligence features.
Thank you, Paul. Yeah, hello, I'm Maud Stichter, and I will talk about the new features within predictive intelligence. And for predictive intelligence, there are two main new features, which is language support and automatic purity fields. And we have a very nice new application. That's the third topic, which is called process optimization. Paul's already explained it shortly, but I will dive in more detail. So for predictive intelligence, the first new enhancement is that 7 additional languages are added to train the models. So especially for companies using different languages in their ServiceNow instance, I want to train predictive intelligence models, for example, to find similar instance, to predict the assignment group, etc. are now able to train the models with 15 languages in total. The second new feature Next slide, please. Yeah, thanks. Is regarding the clustering framework. In general, the cluster capability is improved and generates more insight into the clusters. It's now possible to apply automated purity fields. So for example, if you use the clustering framework to cluster incidents and your goal is to optimize your category fields, you can see that, for example, in this example, 50% of the incidents in this cluster are related to the software category. And in an ideal situation, you want that the same type of incidents are related to the same category. So you can use the purity fields to improve the field distribution by analyzing 10 different category fields per cluster. And then we go to the third new feature, and that's a new application. Like I said in the introduction, is the new application called Process Optimization. It's a really nice one, and it makes use of process mining. And within 3 steps, you can improve all type of processes available in your ServiceNow instance. Think of ITSM, processes, CSM, FSM. And the 3 steps are you can visualize, analyze, and improve them. The first step is to visualize the execution of the processes by using audit data. And this data is stored in the sys audit table of your ServiceNow instance. The second step is to analyze it. To analyze the actual process. So you can easily compare your intended process, which is probably documented, with your actual process. And then the third step is to improve it. With visualizing the actual process flow, you can find different bottlenecks, improve your key performance indicators. And also you can integrate the optimization application with performance analytics and with the continual improvement management application to keep improving the process, but also to monitor them in the future. And I think that was it.
Okay, thanks, Maud. That was our last presenter for today, and I think we will move on to Q&A. I think some of the questions are being addressed live in the chat feature, and we also have a few that we'd like to call out to our competence leaders. And the first one is for Paul, and that's, will you be expanding on any out-of-the-box performance analytics?
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't think we have anything else planned for performance analytics in this Q&A session.
Okay, and just a note to the audience, if there are any questions that we feel like warrant follow-up or have a really, really complex answer, we'll be reaching out to you individually to give you more information after the event. The second question is, what is new in the customer service portal? And that's for Agni.
Yeah, so customer service portal did not change that much in this release. However, quite a few new enhancements have been implemented. So one of them, which is relatively common use case, is to able to track the user activity of the non-logged in users on the service portal. So for example, like reading knowledge articles and things like that. So this is quite important for PA and user experience analytics. Other than that, something that was initially not really very configurable were the standard ticket pages, because for all of the tickets, it would be always the same. So there's improvements there. And one of actually features that we always had to implement, which was not out of the box, but in every single customer we would do when you have a case and user actually rejects a solution. And until now, the rejection note or rejection reason was not mandatory. And that was a very classic use case for which we always had the widget built in already. However, now it's out of the box feature. So rejection notes are all mandatory. So basically also you hear that ServiceNow are listening to the standard use cases. Other than that, minor improvements, but nothing, I would say, very extraordinary or completely new for this release for a service portal.
Okay, thanks, Agni. And the third question, I believe, goes out to Dylan, and that's how do you implement CSDM from the APM point of view?
Yes, so that's a very broad question. Perhaps also Jochen could answer it, but yeah, looking at CSDM and APM and the use case or the objects that are being used within APM that are part of CSDM, we are mainly looking into the blue part, the planning and the design phase of CSDM, where we are talking about the business capabilities and the business applications, and also the information object is more related to GRC, but also could fall into APM. From that perspective, what we do within CSDM, if we define the applications, we also start refining with the business applications, and that will then be used in APM. Also, besides application portfolio management or part of application portfolio management, we have the technology portfolio, which is being used as part of the ITBM suite. I don't know if you would like to add that also into the answer, but from that perspective, also there we are using, for example, the hardware and the software product models and the application services, which are incorporated into the TPM view. What I also would like to stress out is that the product views that I have been speaking about in my own highlight, yeah, there is also an APM product view available on the ServiceNow docs. So if you would like to get a more extensive answer on how APM relates to CSDM, then I would recommend to read that. And if you want to have a more extensive discussion on how we usually approach an APM/CSDM implementation, then I think we should better take that on offline, because it's quite a comprehensive answer. I don't know if Jochen wants to add something to that.
If nobody has anything to add,
no,
I'm going to take the next question.
Yeah.
Okay. And another question that came in was, which competence lead will support integration between APR and IRC, or will we need two for that?
Hey, it's coming from Nick, I see. Hi, Nick. Hope you're doing well. So I think you're talking indeed about the integration between APM and IRM. Yeah, exactly. So whatever is needed indeed. So probably both competence leads will support you in such a journey, really depending on your exact business need.
Okay. And I think this is the last question we'll take, just as we're coming up on noon here. In ITBM, any new functionality related to ITFM, financial modeling?
Yeah, currently ServiceNow supports two use cases with regards to financial modeling. It's financial modeling for service portfolio management and for APM, and that was the case. And yeah, that's currently what is supported from here. Okay.
I think at this point, we want to invite everybody on the call to email us at info@platformation.com if you have any further questions, or if you have more detailed questions that require a conversation. And I'd like to give a huge thank you to the long list of competence leads that came on here today to highlight their top 3 new features. That was awesome and short and sweet. And thank you for all of you who dialed in to attend. And as promised, we'll be sending you a recording of the presentation. So with no further ado, I will end the broadcast, and thank you again for joining us today.